welcome to the show. Uh, Happy Friday to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. And thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Thanks. We see it. I see there's plenty of new viewers scrolling in. While they do that, I just want to start real quick and share my screen because I think you've got some amazing pictures on your website that I want to go through. And then, of course, we'll get into your bio as well. But folks, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. We're here with Kevin Lane, uh, and the inventor of Create a Castle. And he created molds that make it easy to build elaborate sand castles. And if you're wondering what I mean by elaborate, I'll show you a couple of screens at the end. So he's the winner of the prestigious Toy of the Year award in 2020. And it's no surprise when you look at the type of sandcastles that you can build and do it quickly using his patented invention. And what patent attorney would be, worth their salt if they don't look up the actual patent that underlies it. So it's a really broad patent. I love the fact that it's protected, and Kevin's taken the right steps to make sure his intellectual property is protected before going forward. When you think of sand castles, of course, you think of sand, but you can make snow castles with this product as well. So without further delay, let me stop the screen share and introduce our guest of honor today, Kevin. What triggered the idea is he's watched too many people struggling to finish a sandcastle, a dad with their young son. And sometimes you can imagine, you have limited sunlight, you're trying to get this thing done, and it just takes too long using a shovel and a 5-gallon bucket. And if the child that you're helping is young, 5, 6, 7 years old, and if you guys that have kids, their attention span is not that long. So it's only gonna be a matter of time before they just give up and they're off doing their own thing. And poor dad and mom are there finishing the sandcastle by themselves because the kids gotten bored. So with that, let's give our attention to Kevin. Kevin, it's a pleasure to have you here today. I want to start kind of with, like I always do, the invention is critical, but I like to start a little bit with the inventor and his story before the idea came to them. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my background, believe it or not, is in tech. And, my escape from tech was going to the beach with my family, having fun, and dreamed this whole concept up when I was actually on vacation with my family at a beach in Laguna Beach, California, back in 2016. Saw dad struggling. They flipped the mold over, it didn't work. They got frustrated, and that's when I was on the beach walking with all these tools that I had just purchased from Agway, I think it was. And I was like, wait a minute, I have this idea, and went home and started doing patent searches, product searches to make sure there was nothing else out there that would actually compete with the idea. And sure enough, there was really nothing in the marketplace that had not only splitting molds like I was dreaming of, but also the stackability function, which really is that's what separates us from any other product on the market. We're probably 4 to 5 times bigger than any sand platform mold on the market, which separates us from the rest, plus the detail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's incredible detail, which not just is clear from your website, but just looking at some of the patent drawings and how, for example, the pieces are put together. They're
Yeah.
really intricate, and every aspect of it is made to save time. So they split. And I'll let you get more into the product later. But you said you started in technology. So your background in like web design and coding. So this is just a lot of times we hear from inventors that the idea that they have and their concern is, well, my idea has nothing to do with my technical background or what I've studied or what I've gone to school for. And having practiced as a patent attorney for 25 years, I've got to say that is the norm. I mean, it's really the exceptional inventor that invents within their field. And sometimes the invention, like a field, does not even exist. I mean, you think about the Wright brothers, there was no aviation industry at the time. So they were bicycle mechanics. And if they looked at it and said, well, for bicycle mechanics, we should stick to bicycles. Well, that's not how innovation goes. I mean, Amazon, for example, they're like started as booksellers, and they're, now people don't even think about books because they sell everything. So books are way down on the list of what people think of when they think of Amazon. So that's typical. Did you feel that your background, did it help, or was it in some ways a hindrance to the type of skill set it takes to be an inventor?
No, it absolutely helped because I was on my own. So in a sense, I was an inventor in the sense of kind of, I always had to find new customers, find new clients. So I was really good at the marketing side of things. And that kind of translated into what I do now with Creative Castle. That coupled with the fact that, needed a website, needed somebody who had background with doing social media work. Well, I had all that. So all of that background that I had applied into everything that I do now. So it was really, really beneficial.
Okay, and as far as the, do you have, maybe we'll start, I have several questions about the obstacles you faced while creating the prototype. But before we get to that, let's just have you demonstrate the product. And if you have a prototype there, like show us how it comes together.
Yeah, so I'll get you the big set here. 1 second.
Okay. Because I know Kevin has an indoor set as well, which we're going to get to see that.
Yeah, so this is not the prototype. This is the actual finished product. But I'm pulling it out of the bag here so you can see the size of it.
Oh, wow.
These are big molds. So, this is really for families that want to engage and get some serious results. And then basically snap it together, roll it over and click. You just want to lock these. You always want to hear some type of click or a lock.
Yep.
And then now you have a full cylinder. And then when you're ready, instead of lifting anything, you're going to unbuckle and you're going to pull from these bottom tabs right down here. And you're going to just pull it straight back and apart each panel. And that's, within 2 minutes, you could have this filled with close to 50 pounds of sand. And you're going to have almost a foot tower castle just from that mold.
And you would have, like, if it were an actual castle, you'd have blocks and then grout in between. Because they come apart, I guess you're not pulling upwards on the cylinder, so there's nothing to mess up those individual lines. Like how,
Exactly.
so that's what was really shocking in those pictures that you've seen. It's so intricate, the design. And if you say 2 minutes, like nobody in their right mind would think that's put together in 2 minutes, because that you can see each individual block, what it appears to be with grout around it, as if it was an actual structure.
That's right.
I think that splitting helps, and how quick it comes apart. Like that's great.
Yeah, hyper detailed. And the really cool thing is like in the snow, you can actually fill them and then transport them and move them and stack them upside down, invert stack on top of each other. It's almost like snow Jenga. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
really, really fun. And then, going back to the indoor kit, this is the first time I'm actually showing this. So we scaled everything down and we have a new provisional patent on this. So basically it's going to be in stages. You would flip this, you would fill it with sand, roll it over, lift the top off, and then you're going to have a key here that's going to separate. And then we have what's called living hinges on here. So you're going to unfold it and reveal.
Oh, wow.
So again, this is going to be the first real true stackable system that will be available in sand. This is the outcome. So it's proprietary sand that we're going to include with the kit.
Okay.
Or same type of thing, but in snow too. So basically anybody can do this. It's going to be super fun for families and kids all over the world.
So, and so what we're looking at now is the finished product. A lot of our viewers are, they hope to get to that stage, but they are not sure about how difficult prototyping is going to be. And go ahead.
Yeah, this is actually a prototype. This is just a
wow.
machined. So it's just painted. It's almost finished, but like the final product is going to be far superior to this.
Okay. And did you find with your first, I often tell the story about like WD-40, the lubricant spray. The WD-40 stands for water displacement Formula 40, and they had 39 other formulas that didn't work out until they got to the one that works. Tell us about, I've had inventors on our show that just sometimes it's pure luck. The first prototype is perfect. Other times it's a lot of trial and error. So tell us about your experience. Where were you on that spectrum?
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. Fortunately, I had inside access to somebody who was working at MakerBot at the time. So I was ripping out prototypes off of 3D printers, which saved me thousands of dollars, hours of time, and really I could almost get them overnight thanks to the 3D printing technology. I mean, all in all, we probably went through, I'd say, more than 50 total revisions up front, because the thing about our product is we had to have the right pitch when you fill it. So it has like a 3-degree pitch on it now, because not all sand is created equal. So there's some beaches where you can't stack. There's some beaches where you can. We make that all very, very clear in our instructions. Snow is a different animal, but if you're in a dry snow, you have to ice it on the way up and add water. So it's definitely, our product has science involved, and we try to be very transparent about that in all the instructions that are included.
Okay, and that's where a lot of it, tell me about when the product concept first came to you, were you thinking sand and snow, or was somehow the change of seasons led to snow as an accidental improvement, which happens often in inventing?
Great question. So originally it was just sand, and the cold, I live in Connecticut, so the cold months rolled in, and I couldn't go to the beach anymore because it was just too cold. It started snowing outside, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think that these molds will work in the snow too. So I went out and tested with a prototype, and sure enough, it was like boom. I split it, and it formed so beautiful because it was a nice wet packy snow, the first snow we got. And when I split it, I was like, oh my God, like this is multi-seasonal now. This takes us to a whole new stratosphere.
Well, and your website even has it's maybe such an unusual look. I mean, I think it's LED lights, right, that you've put on some of yours for early morning or late in the evening. But in the snow, it's just like an amazing different look. Unfortunately I didn't put that picture up on my slides, but give us your website for anybody that wants to check this out. And Jenny, you can put it in the chat box as well.
Yeah, it's createacastle.com, and all of our social media handles are also just Create a Castle on all the major social media platforms. You'll find everything on our website at createacastle.com.
Okay, no, I love that, and that kind of ties in with how you said your technical background and your coding and has helped you, because it's certainly in the marketing aspect of it, because that's something that you're able to get the handles that exactly match with the branded name. So it's not, somebody doesn't have to try too hard to find you. Just Create a Castle and you should come up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever, all the social media channels where you are.
Yeah, no, it's important. And, social media, especially these days, there's actual squatters out there. So if somebody sees that you purchase a domain of a specific type, like Create a Castle, you also should get your handles very quickly, because there's squatters who will actually try to steal it from you. It's a tough game, but when you do it all as one. Don't wait. Just, even if you're not going to do anything with the social media handles up front, just acquire them all if you can.
Yeah, terrific advice. I mean, as an intellectual property attorney, my advice would be to also get the trademarks as well. But sometimes the technology is moving faster than the law, and that's unfortunately the case. So the best advice, I think, sometimes comes from practical entrepreneurs. And Kevin's advice of, trademarking is great, and following legal recourse is great, but why not, as soon as you have that domain, you see it's available, be prepared, because as soon as you register it, bam, it's out there, it's public, people know about it. And now if you have the domain registered but not the individual other social media handles, then they're going to go very quickly. And especially if they'll go to the domain if they see it's a viable product. And in your case, it's they know it's something that somebody would want, that you would want, and then they just grab the handle. Maybe you don't want it today, but a year from now, when you want to go on TikTok or LinkedIn or wherever, you want to make sure that that's available.
Yep.
So you've got
Absolutely.
that tied up. Were you afraid of sometimes one downside of creating a new product is that consumers don't know they need it, and that's one of Steve Jobs, a famous quote by him. I'm probably going to butcher it, but we don't want to we're creating products before consumers even know that it's something they want. And that the obstacle that has is that you not only have to teach them about the need for your product, but you almost teach them how to use it, because it's not like, it's like, imagine the first bicycle would have to come with detailed instructions on how to ride this thing, because how do you balance, how do you learn to pedal and steer at the same time? Did you find that to be an obstacle with yours?
Definitely still. The issue is that there's an age-old product that pre-exists already, the flip molds. So people are really it's almost like a reconditioning of the human mind with our product, because everybody's used to filling it, flipping it, and lifting it, and then that's all you get. And there's no hyper details, there's none of that. So we had to go through the process, and we still do, of putting training videos out there, showing people how to use our product up on YouTube and all the social media platforms that handle video, putting it in the instructions, sourcing the right sand. It's a very visual product, and we use everything at our disposal as much as possible to show people. It's a show and tell product. Here's how you do it. Here's the most efficient way. Definitely.
Has tell us about this award, Toy of the Year award, and how did that come about?
Yeah, Toy of the Year was an amazing opportunity. So we were nominated, and that happened in 2019. We were nominated, and then 2020 we had to go to the Ziegfeld Ballroom in New York City. It was basically like the Oscars of the toy awards, and we were going up against big players: Razor, Scooter, Hasbro, all these big guns who put R&D into getting that award. Never anticipated to win, and when they said our name, we were just blown away, because this is a global award. It's across the whole world, all the toys in the outdoor space. And it changed the game for us, because it really, it put us on the map. We started, getting contacted by Walmarts. We just got our first purchase order from Sam's Club nationally next season, Costco Canada. All this stuff just kind of accelerated everything. And quite honestly, I wasn't even really ready for it, but I had to adapt and make the changes and find the finances to make all this stuff happen, because it's a huge opportunity at that level. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's funny. I just hearing your story is like it's so inspiring, and I'm getting chills just listening to that, because I'm conjuring up images of in Rocky when Sylvester Stallone is practicing in a meat cellar and in Frozen, and he's lifting logs and running uphill, and then they show his opponent like hooked up to all this high-tech electronic state-of-the-art equipment. And when we see, like Kevin Lane, and if there was a video of you creating your original prototypes and making it, and have that transposed against video of Hasbro and these other major toy manufacturers, and them creating their toy designs, like that's exactly it. This is like the Rocky of toys, to go into this and come away with the winning award. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I would compare it to the story from the Bible, David and Goliath, as well, right? We were going against all these giant corporations. And fortunately, behind that, we did have a lot of momentum. So we were on QVC 3 times. And we were also on Live with Kelly and Ryan as one of the summer's hottest toys the year before that. So it was a 1, 2, 3 punch that led, and we had built all that momentum to kind of, I think, help us take that award.
So tell us about the QVC. How did that opportunity come about? Was that before or after the award?
That was actually before the award, so it gave us a ton of exposure. Um, that came about by meeting another fellow inventor. I was just doing a random build on the beach. I got introduced, and I won a pitch off in front of a Shark Tank recruiter. And basically, what that meant was, is I now had the ability to walk into QVC with my product, do a pitch to a buyer, and showcase. So I brought my table in, filled it with sand and snow, fake snow, and demoed the product in front of the buyer, and they fell in love with it. And next thing I knew, within a couple of months, we were on for Christmas in July. It was quick.
Wow. So what, this was 2018?
2018 was Live with Kelly and Ryan, is when we were featured as one of the summer's hottest stories.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
That's, I'm looking real quick at the patent as well. And obviously patents take time to get issued. So I see your patents filed in 2018. So perfect. That's great timing. Really detailed application. Is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of the patent process? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, it was. Again, it was dumb luck. I kind of stumbled into somebody that had a lot of experience doing big corporate patent structure stuff. So the gentleman that I work with did all the patents for, I think it was for Priceline. So he had a strong digital background. Not so much in toys, but he was working with a client of mine doing web work, that this client came up with a kind of a toy product, not really. And he was his patent attorney. He was raving about how great this guy was. So, I ended up finding him through my old business. The process itself was amazing because, this guy really kind of drove us through the whole cycles of what we needed, what he expected from us. And then we ended up doing what was called a fast track. So I paid a little bit of extra because I knew the momentum that we were getting with the Live with Kelly and Ryan show and all these other things, all the talks of it, that I said, you know what, let's pay the extra $1,200 or whatever it was.
Right.
To fast track the utility patent because I really wanted that layer of protection going to public facing.
And at which point, what event, if there was one event that triggered you to start thinking about patents, or was it because of your technical coding background, they were always in the back of your mind?
I had watched Shark Tank for years, and I knew the importance of having that protection before you announce it publicly, because the second you announce it, you start showing and telling. If you don't have that layer of protection, anybody can knock you off. So that's why I knew I was super hush hush until at least we had a provisional.
Yeah, especially something that what's amazing about your idea is that, and that's probably why it was such a hit on QVC, is that you may have to teach people how to use it, but it's very intuitive. Like, and the first time, I would imagine anybody that sees this, the big surprise is, well, why were we flipping a bowl? Like, why was this not done before? Right? It's just like, this just makes perfect sense. Like, because even the old system with, when you flip a bowl, it's not like no castles had details. They had details, but they were painstakingly done afterwards. So you would take that off, and then you would basically, with a brush or something, like carve in the grout. Like, it almost makes no sense now when you really, and I don't think anybody that's used your product can really go back to doing it the old way, especially if they're in a time crunch.
Yeah, that's the power of it. And like, the beauty of the molds too is you could have an upside down castle. In other words, if you're on a good beach that supports it, you could take that cylinder, instead of having it this way, flip it upside down and fill it, and then you have it that way. There is no right or wrong with this system. It's all about experimenting. It's full open-ended play. That's the way that we wanted to engineer it from the get-go, knowing that there was tons of families out there who really want to have that. I mean, people, when they build with this product now, just regular families, people will come up and want to take photos of the castles that they're building because they look that professional.
Right. Oh, photos with your castle.
Yeah,
And
not with me though, like with
right.
customers, you know, the customers who are out there, people walk up and they're like, oh my God, like, how did you do that? And I'll tell them we use this kit. We built it in 15, 20 minutes and this is what we did.
Right. And
It's
so here's
unbelievable.
the other, I mean, and I don't know if this went into your thinking on when you came up with the size and the scale, but typically you don't find castles of anywhere near that size. So if you were going to take a picture, you were forced to choose between, you either get the castle showing or you get your kids. And long term, what's going to be more memorable is your children, but then you sacrifice the castle. You barely see it. The castle's like this little thing. It's tiny, and all you see is the kids, and then you have to basically remember that sand castle because none of the details are there. What our audience saw with the pictures, that's one of the reasons I brought them up. The castle's bigger than the kids, and it looks like one of these things that would take half a day or maybe an entire day to build, and you don't have that time when you're on vacation. I have 5 kids, so I know time is precious when you're on vacation. You're there, we have like an hour, maybe let's get this castle done, get the
Yep.
pictures taken. And sometimes you're fighting with with the sunset. So you're trying to get it done before it's too dark.
Yep, absolutely. It's funny because a friend of the family sent me a photo of they bought a kit. They brought it down. I think it was to Myrtle Beach or one of the beautiful beaches on the East Coast. And they sent me this photo of their 3 daughters that they had, and it was 2 of our pro kits with a wall in between, and they put the 3 girls in between the 2 towers. And I used that photo. It ended up on QVC. It's now international across New Zealand, Australia, everywhere.
Wow.
And they're like, oh my gosh, like we just snapped a quick family photo, didn't realize it was gonna, but that's the power of the product, is that anybody can do this and you can hang a photo in your fridge and you have memories forever.
Yeah, phenomenal. um do you have, if there was one piece of advice that you wish you would have known when you started on this journey, uh, something that you wish someone would have told you. So think of this as your opportunity to let other inventors know and learn from your experience. Is there something that you would share?
Yeah, you're gonna make mistakes. Be prepared for those mistakes. I've made plenty. Take it slow. My biggest mistake was, for instance, QVC. I had to buy brown boxes to pre-pack all the product in and ship them on pallets. I bought way too many brown boxes because I was like, they're gonna sell through all of these. They're gonna ask us back on. Well, it didn't happen. So, take it slow, one step at a time. Don't get overzealous about things and minimalize, the mistakes that you can make in the process, and use all the people around you that have different abilities. Use those people to your advantage and make them part of the experience, because it's exciting. I mean, half the stuff that we've done, my logo was done by my friend. The all the patent work, not the patent work, the design work in CAD was done by another friend, and all these people believe in the product, and I'm bringing them along for the ride. So make it useful, and make it so that your friends can help you build your business in the end.
I love that. There's this famous quote by the author of The Alchemist, Paolo Coelho, that says, when you want something with all of your heart, the entire universe comes together to help make it happen. And it's just, especially when you're passionate about your idea, people pick up on that. Like when I had for our building for the patent professor, it was just such a long battle with the city to get permits and get the sign approved. And the sign installer, I think, could pick up with how excited I was when it was finally up. And he had this crane, and he asked me, he said, "Do you want to, I can get in trouble for this, but if you want, I can let you up on the crane and you can get a picture." And it was phenomenal. And to me, it's like he could share the joy that I was feeling and wanted to do his part to try to help. So I went up there in the crane, and we have wonderful footage. And people are like, "Oh, how did you get that picture? Did you rent a crane?" Like, no, the guy like picked up on whatever vibrations I was giving out. Like, this means a lot to me, and people will come together and do what they can. And it's, you know, and that's the advantage. Some people think of the David versus Goliath as a disadvantage. The thing is, nobody's going to go to bat for Hasbro and go out of their way to really help them. When you see Kevin Lane with his idea and he's passionate about it, and you see the prototypes that he's gone through and created themselves, like, you know, the universe does. I feel they come together to help make this happen. Like, let's kind of level the playing field, and to see you come away from this award as the winner was phenomenal. So I just want to, and I can't thank you enough to come on the show. You're an inspiration, personally to me, but to so many other inventors as well. I just can't, I'm speechless for words, and gratitude for you making it here. I wish you the absolute best.
Sure. Thank you.
And have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend up ahead.
You too. We appreciate your time and thanks for having us.
Take care.